Welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott, and there is Dave, and welcome to 2025. We are starting off the year with a request from a friend of mine. This is for you, Amy. Peggy Sue Got Married. It just went out on me. 86 film by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Kathleen Turner, Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey. I can't think of her name.
Had Coppola's daughter in it.
Yes, Sofia Coppola was in it as well. Also, I love the Bohemian poet, Benny from the Mummy movies.
Yeah. It was one of those deals where I was watching the movie and I'm looking at him like, man, that guy looks familiar. And I had seen the Mummy like 30 times, and I could not put that guy in that other character. Like, they were not the same person.
So not the same. Also, we have the marine biologist from Star Trek 4. I can't think of her name now. Was in it. The one who was with the whales.
Yes. Whatever Walter wants, Walter gets.
Okay, so hey, this is an interesting movie. This is my first time watching it. You told me, hey, it's got some Twilight Zone vibes. Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Here's what I got from it. I was watching Wizard of Oz.
That
was where I went with it.
I could see that. Definitely could see that.
This is a fun one.
It took me a couple of watchings, and there's some very mirror on the wall type moments, like when Peggy Sue first goes back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Her friends are walking her down the hallway, and she, something catches her eye, and she looks up, and it's the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
One balloon that was going up past her old man as he's walking down the stairs at the original party.
Right.
A little older. And it's that balloon that is going down the hallway. They didn't have balloons like that back in the 50s or 60s.
No, they didn't.
So that balloon
I didn't catch that.
Down the hallway, and she's looking at it. And then the mirrors, you had to keep an eye on the mirrors because it's a telltale. That's the very telling of what's going on, like reality-wise. They did a really good shot in the women's room when they take her into the girls' room.
Mm-hmm.
And the mirror, you know how you get that if you have a mirror on a mirror and it just goes on to infinity.
Right.
They were doing that with all the girls. Like boom, boom, boom. That shot was just a beautiful shot, man. I was like, holy cow. And the way that they did the mirror, because initially the daughter's doing her mom's hair, getting her ready to go.
Oh, Helen Hunt.
Yeah, thank you. Helen Hunt is doing her hair to go to the class reunion. And in the mirror, there are 4 different actors. You have the actors that the camera's on, then you have the actors that have the backs facing the camera. So it looks like a mirror that's going on. And then they change the camera angle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the other side of the mirror.
That was cool. They
did that twice. They did that in the beginning of the movie, then they did it at the end of the movie.
Huh.
And they're both juxtapositions.
Interesting.
And I thought, wow, that's really cool. When I was first watching, I just thought, wow, that's a pretty cool shot. That's interesting. Yeah. Didn't dawn on me, there's a philosophy going on in this movie.
Well, it seems like it for sure.
It's really deep. For me, it's a deeper movie. If you look for it a little bit, you don't have to dig all that hard, because as soon as you start digging, it's like going down the rabbit hole. You're like, oh, I see that.
Yeah.
But she goes home from school after giving blood. I don't even know how to start this story. You're better at giving synopsis than I am.
Well, basically, I'm not going to give a lot away. Peggy Sue is an adult. She's going to this 20 plus year class
Right.
reunion. And she something happens. She faints and wakes up back in 1950 something or whatever, or some
I think it's
1960 or something like that. Goes all the way back to high school again, and now she knows everything. uh, in the present time, she's breaking up and divorcing her husband because he fooled
right.
around. He's a loser. She can't stand him. She's angry. She hates him. She goes back and she sees him, and that's what's wild, because now she's like, oh hell no, I'm not
Right.
getting with that. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. And this
Not
is
doing
what's
that
neat.
again.
This is what's neat in the movie. She falls back in love with him.
Yeah.
Um, by the end of the movie. And the whole time, this is where I have some issues with the movie. I've got
Uh,
a few, uh, but one of them is, at no point is she thinking, if I fuck this up, I won't have my daughter.
right. Or her son.
Yeah,
Because
or her
she got like
son.
2 or 3 kids,
Yeah.
but I think they only
So,
share 2 of them.
yeah. So I was like, are you not
Yeah.
going to think about that? But I get it, because she's like so excited. Oh, finally getting rid of Charlie.
Right.
My major issue with this movie, and I have to get this out of the way, is Nicolas Cage is the worst casting choice, hands down. I
Really?
I
Oh
feel
my
he
God.
almost destroys this movie. Took
And
me
I,
right out of it with the damn voice and his acting like a drunk. And it's like, I thought it was, I absolutely hated it. So
and I am absolutely complete polar opposite. I
yeah.
don't think this movie could have been as good without him. I
Oh, I
really
think it would have been better. I think it would have been better.
his
It's
voice
fine.
is annoying, but he's an annoying guy. He's really
Yeah,
he's an annoying adult and he's an annoying kid.
but I didn't buy it. I just it took me out of it so damn quick, because I like Nicolas Cage, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to judge somebody for his early choices. So I went digging and reading that a lot of people, including Francis Ford Coppola, had issues with him, trying to get him to follow direction. He went
Oh,
off and did his own thing. Another
okay.
thing I
All
ran
right.
across is Kathleen Turner in her biography obviously was talking about this movie,
Uh,
and damn it, I know he actually filed a lawsuit, a libel lawsuit on her for things that she wrote about him
oh no
in
shit.
this. Yes, yes. So
I got to read that
a,
book now.
a lot of people obviously had issues with Nicolas Cage in this movie. I look, it reminded me of that 90s movie that I did with our friend Craig,
Uh-huh.
where he shows up with this big honking nose and a funny accent. I
Right.
just I found it grating. I found it annoying. Hey, it didn't kill the movie for me at all.
Right.
I like
Right.
this movie,
Right.
but if I have to nitpick, it's like, either get him to stop that shit or recast. And
Right. Right.
that was
Well,
that
you
was
know
my
what?
take.
That's what happens when you have family working with you.
Well, yeah,
Because
and I had
Coppola
read that he didn't even want to do it and was kind of forced into doing it. So he was, yeah.
Oh, Nicolas Cage was kind of forced into doing it.
That's what I read. Doesn't mean
Right.
it's true,
Okay.
but yes, that's what the internet say.
Well, the internet is never wrong. Um,
Mm,
that's interesting because I had no real big problem with him,
wow. And that's
uh,
cool.
except there was a couple of times when his voice really got like I was like, oh, I would just yell at him because it to me it always sounded like he was like congested.
Hmm.
But there was a good scene early on, and you know his character, and it really pegs his character, in my opinion. He's talking, he's talking to Peggy Sue at the fence, and they've already broken up because he's the
Hmm.
initially they were talking, and she didn't remember the conversation because it's 50 years ago or however long
Right.
ago it was, and he had told her, yeah, we were going to break up, and we're going to go see other people, then we're going to get back together and get married.
It's a
And she's like,
bad
well,
plan.
why do it? Why wait? And she
Why
leaves.
wait? She gets out of the car.
So they're at the fence later on in that day, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, gave it a thought. Maybe we should, just stay together. And she's like, no, no, I think you were right. We should just break up. And she walks away, and he pulls out the Tums, and he starts taking Tums. And that right there to me was like that kid is way overstressed. He's trying to be a rock star. He's trying to be everything his parents want him to do as dad. He's taking care of the family business for the
Yeah.
most part. He's 17 and he's running the freaking store basically. And I'm like, man, that kid, that was to me that just pulling out the Tums and taking
Yeah.
the Tums was a perfect like Oh shit, you poor kid.
Oh yeah, and I think there's
Oh,
missed opportunities to expand on that.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I do. I'm just going to bring up the negative because that's what I
No,
do
go ahead.
remember.
We do
It
negative,
feels
I'll
like
do positive.
that's fine. Um, I felt that so much happened in like one freaking day that was some some of the things just seemed to rush along for storytelling need. With her grandparents, that was a very touching moment. I loved that the grandparents actually believed her.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but then went off the rails with this crazy organization of time travelers, and I was like, "Where are we going? This is going to be cool."
Well, yeah, that was the what was it? The what it is what did the grandfather call it whenever she says, "Are you going to wear that hat?" And he said, "It can't be a lodge without hats," or something like
Yeah,
that. It's the lodge was founded by a time traveler.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what's funny because
So freaking random.
Pat and I were talking. I was like, now, who got this together? But did Peggy Sue tell the grandfather, and then he made the phone calls, going, "Hey, we might have a time traveler here." And the way, like as we were talking, the way it looked like she was being approached by the older guys looked like, yeah, the grandfather said, "Hey, we got to get my granddaughter back to her time,"
Right.
and everybody's just like, "Great, let's do it." That's what I took, and what I see what you're saying. Everything seemed rushed, but that's like over a weekend. It starts on Friday and it goes until
Yeah.
Sunday.
It is to me, and you've seen it a few times. On the first
Yeah,
watch, I was like, how is this? You know,
yeah,
all that to say, I enjoy this movie. It's cute, it's fun. I do recommend watching it. You may like Nicolas Cage in this. I
yeah.
don't, but I
See,
enjoyed the movie.
I know what you're talking about because the same things that annoy you annoy me, but they don't. For me, I think he was doing it on purpose. I think if he would have played it just like a regular Nicolas Cage character, even a younger version like
Mm-hmm.
that, I don't know if it would have been. I don't know if it would have
Well,
worked.
here's the thing, he had the emotion.
Mhm.
I could tell he was in the right headspace,
He's
but
got the
then he,
teeth. He's got the hair. Look out there, Scott. He's got the car. I'm the singer. I'm the man.
it was the voice. It was the
That
voice.
was a great scene.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, he had the energy, he had the vibe.
Yeah,
He did
yeah,
the stupid nasally voice.
yeah.
It just grated nails on a chalkboard, man. It was like,
No,
oh
I get it.
God.
But I don't understand why, not only as the director, but as the cousin, you would put up with that. If you didn't want that, you'd be like, dude, knock it off.
Yeah,
Knock it off, or I'm going to knock you out.
yeah.
You know?
I don't know,
I don't
and
know. That's the
I
first
know.
time that anybody had a problem with him.
Oh,
But I didn't dig. I didn't really dig a lot for that. So,
I didn't. It didn't take me long to find my kindred spirits who absolutely abhor Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie. So they're out there. There's some of us. I found my people, but it's
right.
okay. I still recommend the movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's my take on it, folks. It's a
So
fun 80s movie. It's well shot. There's so much shit to see and look for, as Dave says. You got to really pay attention. I enjoy it. I definitely recommend it.
I actually recommend watching it more than once. Like watch it a couple of times, and you'll start picking up things, especially as far as the existential or the metaphysical type stuff. That's I'd say about the third or fourth watch is when I really started picking up on a lot of this. I've seen this a lot. This is
That's
like
pretty cool.
one of Kat's absolute favorite
Yeah.
movies. And I remember the first time she wanted me to see it, I was like, it's just a time travel. They're just ripping off Back to the Future. I'm not gonna watch this. And I sat down and watched it with her, and I was like, holy crap, that was really good. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Completely different. It's not Back to the
It's
Future at
very
all.
different, very different. So,
But I like you had mentioned the grandmother shot whenever the grandma calls, "Hi, Peggy Sue, it's grandma." And
mm,
it's a silhouette. She's outlined all in shadow. Her mom is standing there looking at her as she drops the phone, and Peggy Sue's about ready to start crying, man. She's like, "I can't talk to her. I dreamed that my grandma died." And the mom's like, "It's okay. It's, go, we'll take care of this. Hi, mom. She'll call you back tomorrow." Click. And then, and then the mom is following Peggy Sue upstairs. Are you guys all right? Are you, well, I think we're gonna break up. Or they're gonna go out that night. The mom stops. She's, Peggy Sue, do you know what a penis is? Stay away from it. That's the best damn line in this
I
movie. I
forgot about
think
that.
just the best damn line.
I did love it when she forgot that she was a teenager and went straight for the whiskey.
Yeah,
I just
I had a rough day. She pours it. She's looking at it, oh, I'm dead anyway. Because she thinks she's dead.
what is that, a tiki glass?
Yeah.
Cool. I have some of those in my booth.
I have a glass tiki glass. Well,
Cool.
cats, and I stole it from her just now. You have those?
I do have them in my booth. Yeah, my antique booth.
I'm
Yeah.
to visit your booth and buy them all.
Yeah. Okay, I have like 3 or 4, I think, that I've found.
I love them.
They're cool. Yeah, absolutely. Nice.
What I really liked is the first guy that she talks to that's outside of her immediate circle is the really smart kid.
Mm,
And it's funny because at the reunion, he knows her and she knows him. So they were already friends.
yeah.
But then you find out how he made all his money. He had the memories, but she didn't, because she didn't go back in time yet to have those memories. That to me is like, I didn't put all that shit together until like maybe the last time I watched it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This guy knows everything. She doesn't know what happened yet because it hasn't happened to her.
Not to her, but it has to him. And that's one of the things that I felt missed.
Poet writer too. It all happened to him.
Yes. Yes. And she didn't remember that, or she didn't believe it, but he wrote a book dedicated to her. So yeah, that tells you that it actually happened. But I would think she'd be rolling in dough because she hooked that dude up with so much.
Well, yeah, but that's just it. Like, he couldn't have given her anything up to that point because she wouldn't have known why.
That's true.
And at
That's
that
true.
point,
He would have to wait.
Thank you. She's married, she's got kids, and she'd be like, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! What are you trying to get from me?"
Yes, but afterwards, yes.
Now that he knows it's happened, he'd be like, "Now I can talk to you about
Fair
this.
point. Fair point.
Now we can talk." It's like Doc Brown knowing what happened in one of those dimensions, but not being able to tell Marty.
Yep, because he'd screw it up.
Because he's 17 at this point. You got to wait until he's 18, almost 18 or whatever Marty is, whenever he goes back. It's like, you got to keep it quiet. And that would have been rough. That would be rough to meet somebody then know that you can't talk to them until they're a certain age about what happened.
Otherwise, you'll mess up time, which then it just hurts my head and it melts out of my ear.
But I just love when she starts talking to him and he's like, initially she's asking him like, well, it's a burrito. And then she's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, a burrito is a Mexican food. I know what a burrito is.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Nobody eat burritos back in the 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
But I absolutely recommend this film. It is one of my favorites. It's lighthearted enough, and there's a couple of tearjerker moments in there, especially whenever they're having their argument out in the greenhouse after she's rescued. And she said, you were never there for me and the kids. You were never there. She names the kids. And he's like, who in the hell are so-and-so? Who are they? And she's like, they're our kids. And he's like, what? He's got no clue.
Well, yeah. And that's just what's so hard that she has to deal with is she knows what he became.
Right.
And she's putting that on him prior to all of that.
Yeah.
And that's what she comes
not
realizing that her actions may be creating this outcome. And
That's another thing I was thinking of the other night when I was watching. I was like, what she's doing now and how she, after she got married and she, did she remember any of that? My question is, when she does go back to her own time, does any of that memory remain in her brain as a teenager growing up?
that's where, that's a whole nother podcast.
And that's where that mirror, that's where the second mirror shot, another juxtaposition of her holding hands with the husband or the almost ex-husband. And then they come in through the mirror and all of a sudden you're in the room with them instead of looking at them in the mirror. It's like, man, that was brilliant. They did it in the beginning and they did it at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. There was there's some neat stuff there that I didn't catch. So when and if I do watch again, I will definitely keep my eyes open.
I think you'll really enjoy it the second and third watch. I think
I rarely watch a movie more than once. So
I think you will. I think you'll really enjoy it. Because you'll be looking at it now like, oh, there's the mirror. Oh, there's the shot. Oh,
yeah, crap, I do want to go back and look at that.
And now I see where it was put in the storytelling, and that makes total sense.
Right.
I enjoy this movie. It's really well done. I was shocked that it was a Francis Ford Coppola movie. Maybe I knew it at one point, but Kat pointed it out to me the other day. That's why I texted you. I was like, that's Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, how the hell? There's no bombs. There was no gangsters.
No. I mean, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's fun.
Very good movie.
Yeah. So
that's all I got to say about it. I say watch it. It's
there.
Good.
You go.
I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I always have. Don't compare it to Back to the Future if you're
can't.
a Back to the Future fan like I am, because they're two completely different movies.
It's only like it because it's a time travel movie. That's it.
Right.
And it takes place of somebody going back into the same time period, basically back to high school, back in the 50s, 60s. That's the only real comparison. Time travel movies all are going to be very similar.
Right.
I mean,
it
just is.
And I just love the concept of her basically being an adult wanting to change her life as a teen. Kat and I were kind of talking like that, and we both decided we would never be able to know what our schedule was in high school. I do not know my combo to get into my locker.
Oh.
I could barely remember where my locker was at. If I
that's what I wondered. How did she even make it to class? Because I was like, I don't know where I would have to be.
She probably just followed somebody.
Well, yeah, because she did pause in the classroom like she was waiting.
Yeah.
And somebody had to call her over. So she wasn't sure. That's right. So, yeah, she didn't know.
So maybe she's just following everybody around. Like, I know that I had classes with you guys. I don't know where or when, but I'm going to follow you. And I would be totally lost because I had no classes with any of the people that I hung out with. Yeah. I don't even know how we became friends, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So anyway, Dave and I both recommend Peggy Sue Got Married. So if you like our show, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and tune in next week when we bring you something else interesting, exciting, boring, bad, awesome, or atrocious. Who knows? We will find out. Catch you later.